2026 is not just another Formula 1 season. It will be the biggest regulation shakeup since the turbo-hybrid era began in 2014. The cars will look different, the engines will sound different, and the racing could be completely transformed. Now, history tells us something very clear. When the rules change, the grid gets shuffled. In 2014, Mercedes jumped to the front and never looked back. In 2022, Red Bull mastered the new aero rules and dominated. But here's the twist. McLaren looks like they might actually be one of the most prepared teams for this reset. In this video, we will break down how McLaren is preparing for 2026, why their driver pairing could be the key to survival, how their reliability and balance give them an edge, and of course, how dangerous their rivals might be.
As the McLarens are side by side, and Oscar Piastri's going all the way around the outside with a bold and brilliant move.
Yeah, and I think we've got a confirmation there that Piastri has zero interest in Lando Norris's World Championship.
And the reason this matters? Just look at 2025. McLaren have been so dominant this season that they've already started focusing on 2026 before anyone else. That's luxury most teams don't have. So let's start with the future, because that's what really matters. The 2026 regulations are bringing massive changes. Active aerodynamics, new power units with a split between internal combustion and electric power, and sustainable fuels will completely change the philosophy of racing. On paper, it's a brand new era for Formula 1. But while the rules are different, not everything starts from zero. McLaren's team principal Andrea Stella has already explained that certain elements of their current car, the MCL39, can actually transfer into the 2026 project. He pointed out that having a solid platform today gives them a base to build for tomorrow. But he was also clear, not everything will carry over. Some areas will need a total rethink. And that's the risk. Regulation resets can act like a knowledge reset. Even if you're ahead today, the slate gets wiped clean tomorrow. But with their huge 2025 lead and almost no risk of losing the championship, they can fully focus on developing the 2026 car. And then, there's the engine. McLaren will continue with Mercedes power in 2026, and Mercedes are expected to deliver one of the strongest engines under the new rules. That means McLaren's power unit should be in good hands. But it also means they're competing directly with the very team that builds their engine. It's a strange balance, but one that could still play in McLaren's favor. Yet even with that advantage locked in, it only matters if another piece of puzzle falls into place. Because even the best engine and aero package might not be enough on their own. McLaren's biggest asset might not be the factory at all, it's sitting in the cockpit. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri have proven to be one of the best driver pairings on the grid. Both are young, aggressive, and quick learners. That combination is gold when the rules change, because adapting quickly can be the difference between winning and falling behind. Norris has shown strong performances, while Piastri has impressed with incredible speed in only his first season. Together, they provide detailed and valuable feedback to engineers, which will be essential in shaping the 2026 car. And more importantly, their rivalry hasn't turned toxic. Despite being separated by just 9 points in the 2025 championship fight, they've kept the relationship professional. There's no destructive drama like we've seen with Hamilton and Rosberg in the past. Instead, their competition makes each of them sharper, while still keeping the team united. That's exactly the kind of environment you need when facing such a huge technical challenge. And when you combine that mindset with McLaren's record of reliability, you start to see why this team looks so complete. Reliability from the team and adaptability from the drivers. That's a deadly combination. But McLaren's foundation is built on something even more underrated. One of McLaren's biggest strengths in 2025 is how complete their car is. It isn't just fast, it's balanced and reliable. The MCL39 has had very few technical failures, a sign that the engineering team has mastered both performance and consistency. And while other teams occasionally struggle with mechanical issues, McLaren has been able to trust their car every single weekend. This matters because when 2026 arrives, teams will be experimenting with brand new designs and concepts. Technical issues are almost guaranteed, but if McLaren can carry over their culture of reliability and stability, they might avoid the pitfalls that trap others. But being reliable doesn't mean much if you don't already have proof that your system works. And McLaren's current dominance is the best evidence you can get. Think back to 2023. At the start of that season, McLaren looked completely lost. Their car was slow and many considered it another rebuilding year for the team, but that struggle didn't last long. Fast forward 2 years and it's a different story. In 2025, McLaren is dominating the championship. They've scored more than double the points of Ferrari in the constructors' standings. They've won 11 out of 14 races so far, and their two drivers are not only at the top of the table but also pushing each other without tearing the team apart. The fact that both drivers are only 9 points apart shows how competitive they are, but the team environment is still one of the healthiest in F1. No one is acting like the superstar who overshadows the rest. Instead, the success is shared across the whole team. And this dominance has another hidden benefit. Because they built such a big lead in 2025, McLaren can afford to shift resources early towards 2026. That head start could make all the difference when the new rules arrive. But still, let's not forget, McLaren won't be the only team preparing. Their rivals are already working behind the scenes, and some of them could be very dangerous. So who's coming for McLaren in 2026? Ferrari has improved but is still behind in 2025. However, they're pouring resources into 2026 and are expected to be serious contenders when the new cars hit the track. If Ferrari finally get it right, they could easily be fighting for wins again. Mercedes is in an interesting position. They supply McLaren with engines, but they're also McLaren's main rival. If Mercedes manage to get the 2026 regulations right, not just with the power unit, but with the entire car, then both Mercedes and McLaren could be fighting each other at the very top. There are strong signs that Mercedes could get the whole package right. Red Bull is the big question mark. With Honda leaving and Ford coming in as their new partner, no one knows how competitive they'll be. This could be their downfall or their big comeback. And don't count out Aston Martin or other midfield teams. F1 history has shown that regulation resets can flip the order completely. The lesson is clear. No matter how strong McLaren looks today, the reset could crown someone completely new tomorrow. So after we weighted up all the factors, let's recap. McLaren are preparing early for 2026. They have one of the best driver pairings on the grid, their car is both fast and reliable, and their dominance this season has given them a head start. But there's a catch. Nothing in Formula 1 is guaranteed. Regulation resets are brutal, and they can undo years of progress in a single winter. That said, McLaren has all the right tools to stay on top. The real challenge will be holding off Mercedes and Ferrari, who could easily match or even overtake them. And Red Bull, Aston Martin or even another outsider could still spring a surprise. In my opinion, McLaren will still be a serious contender in 2026, but to stay in front, they'll need to keep working hard, because the other teams might be closer than ever. The future is exciting, but it's also uncertain. So 2026 might be the year McLaren proves their dominance lasts, or the year a completely new champion is born.